At the moment, we're showing a good receipt and a link to the file that people have purchased. That works, but these days most people are going to expect to get an email as well with a link in the email to the file so that they can save that in their email system and access it anytime they want. So the first thing we need to do is we need to set up our application to allow for emailing. Let's go into a terminal window, and here we can run the command Heroku add-ons add, and we're going to add the SendGrid starter. Now what this is going to do is this is going to configure SendGrid, which is one of the most popular ways of sending emails from Heroku, and it's going to configure us to use the starter edition, which is free. We've done this from the command line, which works, but you could also do it from the website. If we were to go into Chrome and go into Heroku, there is an addons.heroku.com that provides you with information about a wide range of different add-ons that you can use. And if you want to get an idea for the kinds of things you can do with Heroku, you should really take the time to look through this. The particular one that we're using here is SendGrid, which is one of the email or SMS clients. In this case, it's for email. And there's a whole bunch of information here explaining how it works. And we've signed up for the starter edition, which is free. And that gives us everything that we need to at least get it started, up to 200 emails per month. And if we're selling more than 200 books a month, it's probably not unreasonable that we'd end up paying a little bit for our emailing system. We should probably check that our configuration actually worked out when we tried to add SendGrid. It says that it did, it seems to have worked, but just to check, let's type Heroku config get to get the value of the SendGrid username. And we're expecting it to come back with some kind of value. If it doesn't, things wouldn't have been configured correctly. The next thing we need to do is configure our code. So let's go into Sublime. I'm going to close some of this out. And what I want to do is a config/environment.rb. So I can go to COEN, right? So that's the config environment. And this is the file we want. And now we're going to have to add a little bit of code here that says action mailer base SMTP settings equal, and then we're going to set a bunch of stuff. We're going to set the address to go to smtp.sendgrid.net. We need to put a comma after that, and then we're going to set the port to be 587, another comma. We want the authentication to be plain, and then we need to set the user name to be an environment variable, which we saw this was set up, right? We saw that there was a SendGrid username, and then we want to have something similar, but the password is going to be the SendGrid password. Almost there. We need to get the domain, which is going to be for Heroku.com. That's where we are coming from here. And we want to enable start TLS auto to true. Great. So that's a bunch of configuration information that we need here. There's a couple of other things we probably want to do as well. One thing in particular is that we're going to want to add a gem for handling emails in development, because if SendGrid works for production, what are we going to do locally for sending emails? SendGrid won't work there. We're not on Heroku. So what we're going to do is add a gem. So let's actually go into the text editor, and we want to go into our gem file, and we're going to add a gem. We already had Figaro, and now we're going to have a gem for add letter opener for handling emails in development. That's really what we want. And the gem is called letter opener. And we really don't need this all the time. We can just put this in the group of development and save that change. Now we want to go to a terminal, and in there we're going to want to run bundle install to make sure that we install all of the gems required. And then just to finish this up, we need to go into a text editor. And in that text editor, we want to open the config environment development file. There we go. And in here, we're going to want to tell it to use letter opener to open the emails in a browser when we're sending emails. So we're looking for the action mailer delivery method. And we don't have one of those right now. So we're going to config.actionMailer. Let's just copy that because we want to make it clear that what we're going to do, it feels like this should go after that other action mailer stuff. And let's tell it that we want to send emails using letter opener in dev mode to open emails in a browser. That seems to tell us the story, and we want to go config.actionMailer.delivery method should equal letter opener. There we go. And finally, all we want to do is save these changes in Git. So let's have a look at our Git status. We've changed a few things because what we did, let's Git add those, because it was really, if it was to commit that with a message, we implemented gem files for handling emailing in both development and production. That would be a reasonable summary of what we did. And let's push those changes safely up to GitHub as well. Clear that, Git status, and make sure that we're done.